Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing okay. So yesterday I posted those links and I thought that you guys were going to be okay at it, or okay at all of these things, mostly because all of you did so well on the pretest. Like the average on the pretest was something like 70% or 80%. So I thought you guys remember this well enough. I don't need to reteach it. I thought you would just practice. I was wrong. Or mostly wrong because some of you did it. But I'm going to post a video today that helps explain some of these things. Now, when you have inequalities, one thing that's commonly disturbing about inequalities is these symbols, right? Those symbols. I know you know what they mean. This is greater, this is less, this is greater or equal, and that's less or equal. One little thing that I can tell you about inequalities is if you have, say, negative x is greater than 5, every time you divide or multiply by a negative sign, if I divide by -1, every time I divide or multiply by a negative sign, the inequality sign flips. That's the only special trick that there is about inequalities. If it was x is less than -4, put the negative here. If I multiply by a -1 here, times -1 times -1, again, when you multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality sign flips. That's the only special thing about inequalities. So everything else, you treat them as if they are linear equations. Let's start with one example. If I have, it can even be 4x minus 3 is less or equal to x plus 1, right? Initially, I'm going to solve it just the same way I would solve a linear equation. Ignore this over whatever it looks like until you've come to the very end of the solution, and then that's when you need to put it into consideration. But in the early stages, just treat it as a linear equation. So if I'm solving it as a linear equation, I'll start by collecting like terms. So the x goes this way, so I have 4x minus 2x, and then the 3 will go that way. That's or equal 1 plus 3. So I'm treating it as a linear equation, just looking at this as an equal sign, even if it was just less or greater. So this will be 2x less or equal to 4. If I divide by 2, I have x less or equal to. The solution set for this one, if I want to write it in interval note, if I want to write it as a set, I can write -infinity 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, -1, 0, 1, 2, if I want to write it as a set. In interval notation, it will be -infinity included up to 2 included. Sorry, -infinity is not included. But that's just if I wanted to write it as a in interval notation. Or I can even just end here, or if I wanted to draw it on a number line, I would start at 2, 0, so many numbers, that's a 2, then fill in the circle, shade it and fill it in, then go that way. So those are 3 different ways of writing the solution. Compound inequalities, I know, again, you guys have had issues with them. Compound inequalities. Remember, these are simply linear equations. Linear equations. So you're solving 2 linear equations, and these 2 linear equations have, let's call it a combined solution. So if I have these 2, I'm solving this question 1 from that Khan Academy thing. This equation or this. I'm trying to figure out what's the solution for x. I will start by solving this one first. 12x plus 7 less than negative 11. First step, move the 7 over. So I have 12x is less than, I'm simply solving it as if it's a linear equation. 12x less than 18, so I have x less than, when I divide by 12 both sides, 3/2. That's the first one. Then moving on to the second one, 5x minus 8 greater than 10. If I move the 8 over to the other side and it adds to the 10, I have 5x is greater than 18, and when I divide by 5, I'll have x is greater than 18/5. So what does this mean? Let's first analyze this one clearly. This x value, whatever the solution is less than negative 3/2, right? But it is also greater than 18/15. Now negative 3/2 is the same as negative 1.5. 18/15 is the same as, I think, 3.6. So it's telling us that this x value is less than negative 3/2. It's less than negative 1.5. So if I want to write it specifically as a whole number, since it's less than negative 1.5, then the smallest whole number that it can be is 2. Negative 2, sorry. That means it goes from negative 2 to negative infinity. Not included, not included. So that's that solution. Then come to this one. 18/5 is 3.6, I think. You guys can verify. So since it says that x is greater than 3.6, the smallest whole number it can be is 4. So that solution will be starting from 4 going up to positive infinity. So your two solutions are this or that. Just like that, like a linear equation. Let's see if there's another one here that you guys needed help with. If I have a linear, inequality like y greater or equal to 3x minus 8, and then they ask me, is this a solution of that equation? Is this point a solution to that inequality? Simple, very simple. I just substitute for the x and y values of this point into that inequality. So when I substitute for the x and y values, the y value is 2, the x value is also 2, so it's 3 times 2 minus 8. So you're asking yourself, is 2 greater or equal to 6 minus 8 is negative 2. So you're asking yourself, is 2 greater or equal to negative 2? For this case, the answer is yes. Since the answer is yes, that means this point is a solution to that inequality. If this was on a graph, if I had a graph of, let's say, this point is 3, and this point is 3. So this is y equals x plus 3. And that's how I wanted to shade the side which is greater or equal. Y is greater or equal to x plus 3. Let me choose this point right here, 0, 0. So that point 0, 0, first of all, which side of this line does it lie? If I test the line y greater or equal to x plus 3, and I plug in 0, 0 for x and y, is 0 greater or equal to 3? The answer is no. Since the answer is no, that means the bottom side is unwanted. Let me represent it with black. And the top side is wanted. Let me represent it with green. So the wanted region is green because it's the region that satisfies the inequality. If I picked any point from this region, Let me even pick this point, negative 3, 3, and I substituted it into the inequality. This is 3, this is negative 3 plus 3. I'll end up with 3 greater or equal to 0, which is a yes. So that means the side above the line satisfies the inequality, the side below the line does not. That's kind of a recap. Yeah, have a good day.